Welcome back, and now we are ready to pull this into our local application. So we've already tried it in Postman, so everything is working as expected. We've got a brand new URL for our data, so that's going to be that one there. And remember, this is coming from the Google scripts where we went to publish and then deploy as a web app, and then this provided us that URL. So it gives us a dev URL over here, and when we update, it gives us that executable one. So it's important to make sure that you've got the executable one there so that you know that you have the final working version. So now let's actually get rid of some of this content here, and we don't have to do a whole lot of updates because we're still getting JSON data. We can get rid of this looping through, and we can also make use of this stuff later on as well. So let's, first of all, let's just see how this is working. So we've got that opened up, and we've got, I know, a lot of different windows happening here, and I do apologize for that. I am trying to load as many as I can within the visible area. So we've got our newly updated application, and we see that we're returning the information back. And this time, you notice it is a whole lot neater. It's a lot more readable, and that data, you can really access it a whole lot better. So now, all we need to do in order to build out our list, we've already got the jQuery loop here. So let's grab each one of those elements. So remember, this is going to be within an array format. So it's not an object format, and you'll see that once you've got these index numbers, it says array over here. We've got a length for the array. So there's a lot of indicators here to let us know that it is an array, and then plus there's the square brackets. So we know that this is array data. So in order to access the first one, 0, 1, 2, 3, arrays always start at 0 there. So in order to retrieve that information back, let's first console log out data. Or we'll console log out the value. So when we log out the value, we get each individual item within the array, and then these are arrays themselves. So if we want to return back the first item, we could do a 0 and so on. So we could really easily output all of this information. If we're building a table, we could output this information in a table format, or we could just simply do a for loop. So let's do that and create a for loop. So X, there's a number of ways to obviously to do this, and we're going to loop through while X is less than VAL length. So this makes it a little bit more dynamic as well, and increment X. And then we'll do here, we're going to concatenate our HTML together, and we're going to do value X and then add it together. And then at the end of this, let's do a line break. And one other thing before we try it out, so let's give X a starting point of 0 and uncomment this part here where we're loading it to our HTML. So there we go. So we're loading our Google Sheet data. We've got all of the items, all of the content, really nice and neatly output within our web page. So we can also turn it into a list if we wanted to. So that's also fairly easy to do because right now we're building out our HTML. So we can do something like unordered list, and then we could set up them as list items. So list item, and then this can close off the list item. And then before we output it, let's update that as closing off the unordered list. So let's try that out again. And there's a number of ways that you can work with this and you can output that data. So you can also do it in a table format. So try this out for yourself. Connect your Google Sheet output, JSON output, and access it within your application, and then do something with the data, output it really nice and neatly within your page. You can add some styling and really spice it up as well, and also try to add additional columns just to make sure that everything is working dynamically. And let's also let's open up our spreadsheet, and we'll see that if we add in a new column over here, so we'll call it email, and we'll give everyone same email just to save some time. And then if we create a new person again, and we'll just leave it at that. So now when we go out to our application, let's see what happens. When we do load data, notice that we don't have to refresh the code because we're still pulling that data in from the web page. And notice that it automatically added in that extra column. It added in that user that we updated. So it's very dynamic and very versatile. And in this type of format, you can do quite a bit with the data that's coming in. So there's a lot of flexibility to that code. So go ahead, try this out for yourself. And the next lesson, we're going to dive into Google Scripts again. And this time, we're actually going to be posting data into the Google Sheet. So that's coming up.